On June 5, 2009, the police department in Kankakee, Illinois, received a frantic call that would shatter the quiet rhythm of a small Midwestern town. A former state trooper, Drew Peterson, reported that his 38-year-old wife, Kathleen "Kathy" Savio, was missing from their home, and the case quickly spiraled into a media frenzy that would expose a pattern of disappearances and lies. Peterson, once a respected officer in the Illinois State Police, had already been under scrutiny after the 2007 vanishing of his first wife, former police officer Stacy Peterson, whose case had gone cold for years. The sudden loss of Kathy ignited a firestorm of suspicion, and what followed was a high-profile criminal trial that gripped the nation. Drew Peterson's career began in the early 1990s when he joined the Illinois State Police with a clean record and an ambition to serve. He married his first wife, Stacy, in 2002, and the couple appeared to live a typical suburban life: 2 children, a house in a quiet neighborhood, and a shared commitment to law enforcement. Yet beneath the facade, friends and colleagues began noticing troubling behavior, frequent arguments, controlling tendencies, and an unsettling obsession with appearances. In September 2007, Stacy disappeared after a late-night dinner at a local restaurant. Her car was found abandoned, her phone went silent, and despite extensive searches, no trace of her ever emerged. The case was officially labeled a missing person investigation, but whispers of foul play lingered among those who knew the couple best. 2 years later, Peterson's personal life seemed to reset when he met Kathy Savio, a former police officer who had left the force after a knee injury. They married in March 2009, and the couple moved into the same house where Stacy had lived. The marriage was initially portrayed as a fresh start, but the shadows of the past lingered. Within months, Kathy's mother reported that her daughter had become increasingly anxious, noting that Drew's temper flared over trivial matters and that he monitored her phone calls. Friends recalled Kathy mentioning that she felt watched and that she feared confronting her husband about his past. On the night of June 5, 2009, Kathy called her mother for help, claiming she was locked in a room and could not leave. By morning, she had vanished, and the house showed signs of a hurried search: open drawers, a broken glass, and a faint scent of perfume lingering in the hallway. Law enforcement initially treated the disappearance as a potential runaway case, but the tide turned when a search of Peterson's home uncovered a hidden bag of cash, a set of handcuffs, and a sealed box containing a bag of frozen pork, an odd piece of evidence that would later become a crucial clue. Peterson's own statements grew contradictory. He claimed he had been at a local bar with friends, yet surveillance footage placed his vehicle near the family home at the exact time of the disappearance. The investigation deepened when detectives discovered that Peterson had purchased a 9mm handgun just weeks before Kathy vanished, a weapon he later claimed was for personal protection. The convergence of these details forced the county sheriff's office to reclassify the case as a homicide investigation. The public outcry was swift. Media outlets ran continuous coverage, dubbing Peterson the former cop who kills his wives. Talk show hosts dissected each new development, and the case became a cultural touchstone for discussions about domestic abuse, law enforcement accountability, and the justice system's ability to confront powerful insiders. As the investigation progressed, a crucial breakthrough emerged. A neighbor recalled seeing a black Toyota Corolla, registered to Peterson, parked near the house on the night of the disappearance, and the vehicle's trunk was later found to contain a large, blood-stained bag. DNA testing confirmed the presence of Kathy's blood, turning the case from a mystery into a damning forensic narrative. In 2011, after months of pre-trial motions and a highly contested evidentiary battle, a grand jury indicted Peterson on first-degree murder charges for the death of his second wife. The indictment also included charges of tampering with evidence and lying to investigators. The trial, held in the summer of 2012, unfolded under a national spotlight, with cameras capturing every gasp and whispered speculation from the packed courtroom. Prosecutors painted a chilling portrait. A man who, after the unresolved disappearance of his first wife, repeated the same pattern, using his badge and influence to cover his tracks. They presented the frozen pork as a gruesome attempt to destroy evidence, the handcuffs as a sign of premeditated restraint, and the blood-stained bag as irrefutable proof of foul play. Testimony from Kathy's mother, who described her daughter's fear and desperation, resonated powerfully with the jury. Peterson's defense team argued that the evidence was circumstantial and that the prosecution was relying on media sensationalism rather than concrete proof. They highlighted the lack of a body, claiming that without a corpse, a murder conviction could not stand. They also suggested that Kathy might have staged her disappearance to escape an abusive marriage, casting doubt on the prosecution's timeline. Yet the weight of forensic evidence, combined with the pattern established by Stacy's unsolved case, proved overwhelming. After 3 weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated for less than 12 hours before delivering a guilty verdict on all counts of first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and obstruction of justice. Subscribe to the verdict for more stories like this.